G'day viewers, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you're watching. If you're watching, do I have any watchers? It's hard to tell, whatever.
Showing 3.
Yeah, it does look like I've got 3, how about that? Welcome to Michael from Canada, who is the disembodied voice again this week. And this week we're looking at Sherman Hill. Now at the moment we've got Michael on live, which is a little bit different to usual, so he'll actually hear me and he should be able to respond quickly, assuming it doesn't start echoing for him. Then I'll have to turn his mic off.
Yeah, you're getting echo now.
Oh, that's a bummer. Alright, I will pop Michael's mic off and then he'll just have to respond when he hears me talk about 30 seconds later. Okay, we are going to be playing Sherman Hill today, the newest DLC from Dovetail Games. I quite like it. You may have seen my review already, but I quite like it. I've been through this area, so I know what it's meant to look like, and I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. Now, so we run from Cheyenne. This is a map I found on the internet, and it runs along, pretty much along the highway really, for a lot of its distance. And it runs along, this is the route that's been built, this one, and it runs up through Burford, Sherman, Dale, and up into Laramie. The other track, I just realised my cursor doesn't turn up on the stream. That's boring. Anyway, I was pointing stuff out with my cursor, so I won't bother now. But the unbuilt track is the red line you can see at the bottom of the map, which is the Perkins Harriman Lynch MK. That bit's not actually in the game. Well, it's kind of there, but not really. Hello, Gareth. Excuse me typing it, Gareth. It's probably horribly noisy. I should bring my microphone a bit closer too. That might work better. Right, okay then. Now it's in my way. It's a good start, isn't it? Anyway, so this is a map I found on the internet. I will chuck the link to this one. Which map is it? Oh, well, look, I'll chuck 3 links in the chat. And all of them are the ones that I'm showing at the moment. So let's get rid of you. We might come back to that later. This is a much older map, which is on UP's website. So this is probably one of UP's survey maps. And the reason I like this one is because it's got the gradients. So in that top box where it says condensed profile in the top center, that's the actual gradients of the line. So you can see how steep this thing really is. Now, interestingly about this one, while it's called Sherman Hill, as far as I can tell with my research, it doesn't actually go over Sherman Hill. The real route doesn't either. Sherman Hill's slightly to the north of the railroad as far as I can tell. It might not be 100% correct, but it seems to be that way on several map sources that I found. So I think it's called Sherman Hill because it's near Sherman Hill. But anyway, and the other thing about this UP site, which is the links in the chat there, I think it should be, that site, I'm not sure if I kept it open. Let's see if I did. There it is. This site's actually kind of interesting, and I have seen a little bit of chatter from people to say that it, why is this talking about the Continental Divide when this isn't the Continental Divide? Well, it's because this route is what actually went over the Continental Divide, just not here. So it did eventually get there. And if we have a look on Google Maps, I won't zoom in so far, but it's the same kind of view. So we mostly go along. This is what I mean. It largely follows Highway 80, except when it doesn't. It goes a bit further south, and then it comes up this way. Now, Sherman Hill, as near as I can figure out, it's actually up here somewhere, whereas the line's down here. But anyway, that's cool. Let's play. So I've got 2 things I'm going to do. One is a scenario, one is a service run. I quite like the service run. I imagine you've been playing the game. So let's get into scenarios. Get over it. There we go. That's the one we want to play. I've been keeping it just for you. Now, you should play through Magnet for Trouble too. That's a good one. But I'm not going to play that one on stream. Or maybe I will in a couple of months. Ooh, that's noisy. That's really noisy. Let me just bring that down just a little. And then I'll bring it just a little for the stream and a lot for me, so I don't yell at you, because that would be boring. Anyway, this, what was I saying? Yeah, Magnet for Trouble. I might play it in a couple of months. Ooh, has my stream died? I think my stream's died. Uh-oh. Something bad happened. No, YouTube's still saying it's okay. But my monitor has definitely died.
No, things are good.
Okay, my monitor is definitely dead. That's not good. Let's try and... In fact, it died a while ago, apparently. Let's load it again. Right, there we go. My apologies, folks. I keep it running on a separate monitor, which has just died again. Okay, we won't be running monitors today. That's fine. We'll just leave it dead. Looks like the stream's relatively healthy anyway, so my apologies for the delay. Now, back to Magnet for Trouble. Maybe in a month or so I'll run that on the stream, but I don't want to run it now because it's actually a lot of fun, and the premise behind it is really cool. It happens to be the 50th anniversary, nothing to do with Amtrak. That's the 50th anniversary all train people think about. But it's the 50th anniversary of something else, and the character they've used is particular to that 50th anniversary, which is why I don't want to spoil it. So, we go. Jumping into the nose door of the SD70 ACE. Now this is a comfort cab, so you get much quieter in here. Where's that door? There it is. Now, sadly, you know, no dunny. What if you need to go? The door handle doesn't work. You just have to stand out the front and just be careful of that old adage. Don't piss into the wind.
No access.
Yes, denied.
Gotta hold it.
Denied. And I know it says uncouple vehicles, but I just want to see how this thing's set up before I take off. It all looks relatively happy. It's even got its independent set. Look at that. Independent set. Reverser is out. There's only one thing. No, that generator field's off. So from a safety perspective, this cab is actually right. Because US used 3 points of safety, which is reverser in neutral or out, gen field off, and the independent brake on. Only then is someone allowed to go in between the cars. But even then they can still move. Alright, let's go back here. Actually, let's just have a look around the beast first. The big backwards flag, which really is like that, so stop complaining about it, people who are complaining about it. Go look at a real loco. And the nicely lit side of it. Now, the weathering on these ones, I reckon, is magnificent. That's awesome. Fuel stains, got all sorts of dust all over the bogies. That's just nice. And we've got snow drifting in from somewhere. That's cool. Right, we might as well get in then. Should I get in the door that I got out from? Yeah, let's go in here again. Hopefully the game won't get upset by that, since it wants me to go the other way. We may end up having to go out the other door just to satisfy the points. Ooh, that's a bit quick. Do I need to go that way? No, I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's got any objectives. No, all good. Okay, let's bung in the reverser. And engine run. Since this is a scenario, I will just slowly let it go through the instructions and behave myself so I don't break it. And headlights to bright. In the SD40, the rail driver does something a bit weird with the headlights, but the SD70, it's right. Hey, the cab signalling system's working. Cool. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
I've noticed that.
And set the independent brake to release. Now before...
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of it works, you're right. Let's turn that on even though we don't need it. One thing I will show is, so I can freely remove the reverser, but if I throttle and then go back to idle, I'm stuck. No reverser movement. But what you can do if you want to change it is just jiggle the throttle a little bit and then you'll get your movement. I think, not confirmed by anybody, but I think, no, I'm not that clever, so maybe I'm wrong. I think because on this lever there's no blank position between engaging this lever and engaging this lever. So it's always engaging one of them, and that stops the reverser moving through the interlock. But that's okay. Now let's talk about the other really cool thing, and I have to come outside for this. Excuse my voice. How cool is the horn? Okay, I'm just catching up with chat. Yes, the stars do always face forward. And yes, Gareth, breaking things is fun. I often do. Where am I up to? I've got to release the brakes. Hey, that's interesting. That handle was in release when I got out of the cab, and it was in suppression when I got back in. Okay. Choice of scenarios. Let's apply a little bit of power, not a lot. That switch looks like it's set against me. It is. Let's just fix that so we don't trail through and break it. And coming up here we have some signals. And ours is okay. It's interesting in this game that signals appear to be always on the right, except when they're not. you know, just life. I should talk about safety things. So there is an alerter. Let's turn that on. And there's the cab signalling. I wouldn't turn that on at the moment because it does have some issues and you will find yourself mysteriously stopping, which you may find enjoyable or you may not. I think cab signalling has now gone blank. That shouldn't happen. So I think Matt said it was on Friday on the Let's Play stream that
That was one of the issues.
you want to try my lights, Gareth? They're on. Look, I remembered. Or do you want to see them flash? Because these ones don't. Turn off the Beelzebub. I have seen people talking in both the stream chats and on the forum that it's the wrong bell. I beg to differ. If you watch enough SD70 videos on YouTube, you'll find both. So you're both right. It's okay. Step outside so we can hear some engine sounds.
And you alluded to that too.
Just turn chat up a little bit, Michael, because yes, Matt did allude to it. The flickering shadows bug me a little bit, but that's okay. I suspect the flickering shadows turned up when they put in the fixes for Xbox, and I think it's had an effect in other places as well. It's always the way. One change makes other changes. It's just how things are. So we've got 11 miles of snow to go. Frame rates are a little on the low side sometimes. Is our alerter. Frame rates are a little on the low side at times. This is okay, 32. I mean, I'm used to a straight 60 on this machine, and I do wonder what the people on lower capability machines have got. Thank you, Gareth. So, yes, Gareth just pointed out, there we go with not a desirable frame rate. It's dropping down below 20 there. But Gareth just pointed out that what he was saying with the Hornworks try your lights, it's just something that they say in the UK sarcastically when someone honks their horn at them. Aussies usually go, that's fine, mate, but what else did you get for Christmas? And sometimes, depending on the situation, we might add other things. And if you know any Australians, the word mate, depending on how it's used, when it's used, and the inflections and things we just make up because we feel like it, can mean a whole lot of different things. And it can range from a piece of anatomy through to best buddies. All from one word. It's a good word. I won't tell you which piece of anatomy, you can figure that out for yourself. But if an Aussie calls you mate, if they sound happy, it's probably a good thing. If they don't...
I don't need to imagine that.
Yes. I was a leader in a youth movement for a long time, and I learnt another phrase when in that movement, because of course around children you can't swear and things like that. So we had the phrase, gee, he's a gifted individual. Which pretty much meant that they were a dickhead. That's okay. There's a broken snow fence down there. I could leap out at 56 miles an hour and fix that, but I won't. That's one of the collectibles. I haven't really gone too far into collectibles in this route. So if you're looking at my frame rate in horror, since I've left it up there and it's red at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't either. Just starting.
If you're looking at the frame rate in horror, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It doesn't really interfere with the gameplay. And I'm sure that they will address the issues. To me, I thought it was the grass, but I don't think it is. I actually think it's something else, and it's middle distance drawing as far as I can tell. So if it's really close to the track, it's been optimized and it's quite quick. If it's a long way from the track, it seems to be quite good. But if it's in that middle distance, I should hold my hands up higher. If it's in that middle distance, say about 20 meters, 22 yards, whatever, away from the track up to about 50, that's where the issue seems to be. So I think maybe it's just drawing a little bit too much detail there. I am running surprisingly for me, the default TD settings, which does help a lot. The other thing that helps a lot, if I pop out here into settings, we have advanced settings, I think, foliage quality. I'm currently running at ultra. If you knock that down to medium, if you're having really big problems, that seems to help too. So I'm running at 2K, and I've got a 3070 video card. It's working pretty hard doing that and the stream at the same time. So I can hear its fans running, hopefully you can't. So it's probably sitting at about 80 degrees, and putting my hand over the computer, it's pretty hot. So it's probably right up there at the moment. That's okay. Route-wise, not so much to see in the snow, I guess. So this is pretty typical of this area, I have to say. It is basically the high plains of the United States. So Colorado, Wyoming, Dakota, there's quite a lot of bareness. There's not an awful lot of trees in these areas, and when there are trees, they're quite small. And that's just basically the way it is on the high plains. Gareth points out my camera is covering my frame rate. Well, tough titties. What I could do is turn off the HUD. And then I could put my camera down here, I suppose, and then you can see the frame rate. Okay. Reset, what's going on? Damn it. Never take your cursor off the game. Because I'm going to stop now.
Emergency.
Yeah, and I haven't actually gone through resetting this one yet, so this could be fun. Unfortunately, I took my cursor off the game to move my face cam.
Shouldn't take much. I went through it. It was pretty easy.
I think it's resetting itself, to be honest with you. Look at the brake go back up again. While it's doing that, you should look at the brakes, because we have our equalising reservoir, we have our brake pipe, and we have the really important rear brake pipe, which is kind of important when you're playing in other parts of the game. So in this one we didn't have to pump anything up, which is one of the reasons I chose this scenario, because even I struggle to talk shit for 10 minutes straight with nothing going on. Although I managed it in the Hill Start tutorial. So in this DLC, I think, give me that bell, I think it's earned the word simulator. And the reason I think it's earned the word simulator, the braking physics in this are quite different to other parts of the game, and I like them. I like that you have to wait for the train to pump up. I'm sure the arcadey people will be a bit disappointed by it, because they sit there on their console and they've got a 10-minute wait when they first play the game. To me, that's good. It's right. That's what it should be. Now, reality is it's probably quick. So it's 10 minutes in this. That's probably... in reality, it's probably closer to 20 on a mile-and-a-half long train. But 10's a good time to wait. It's a good simulation. And the only way you can tell that your back of your train's ready to release is this rear brake pressure gets up at least around 75, and then you can start trying to move and stretch your train out before the front of it starts rolling back onto the back of it, which would be more difficult to get it moving because you want to stretch it out to make it move. And you can see my frame rate sitting in the red there, even though my field of view is quite small. And if you look outside, looking off onto the plane, so we use some frame there, up in the sky, it's just straight back up to 60. But if we look in the close distance, see, 60. So it's something to do with drawing in the middle distance. Got the alerter that time. Similarly, around the other side, to green signal, so I'll pop out and check. Interesting water tank here. I've got to keep an eye on where I am too. Big water tank on our left here. Radio station on the right. It'd be good to live there in the shadow of the radiation from the big antenna. Good spot. We have the on again, off again centre track that appears sometimes, and other not. Sometimes it's on the side, it just repeats. So you can see here the frame rate suffers on the same, but if I look down, so close to the track, it goes right back up. I first started to think maybe it was the telephone poles, because it starts to drop with them, but then you look into the longer distance and it drops, and it's probably just a matter of how far it's drawn. We'll just pretend I did that right. Turn the bell off. Probably. But as you can tell, is it interfering with gameplay to have the frame rate low? No, not really. If I do that, though it does, that's a big outcome. Because it stutters a bit. But in the cab it's okay. Don't really notice it. Oh, a little bit quick. A little bit. Let's bring that down a bit.
Better than Dresden.
I don't have too many issues with Dresden. There's a couple of places where I drop down below 20, but most of it's okay. That's just my setup, I guess. It's different. It is quite different for everyone, especially on PC, because everyone's on different hardware. Just getting the speed down a little bit so I don't go launching off this curve, because I'm going just a little bit quick. Just a bit. There you go. That's better. Otherwise, people in that farmhouse up there might have got a little surprise. Now, this signal is flashing yellow, so this is the first warning. Basically means the next one is yellow. And as usual with the alerter, it does its job perfectly by distracting you right at the moment you should be watching something else. Alerters just seem to be timed that way. I noticed that on the real trains too. I know my regulars know that I do second person on diesels on a preserved railway, and the alerter invariably goes off when you actually should be watching ahead. And it does become kind of mechanical to find the button and whack it, but it does distract you a little bit. Whistle board. One of my workmates watched last week's stream and says to me during the week, he goes, "Oh, you're so matter of fact and exact about trains. It just makes you boring." It's like, oh well. My audience likes trains. What can I say? So we should have a yellow signal in not too distant future. So I'll keep my speed about where it is. Release Mr. Independent Brake, none of this 2% crap. Oh look, our cab signalling system's back too, except it's displaying green. So it probably shouldn't.
but that's okay. I like the rocks. I reckon they're cool. One of these rocks, though, somewhere is a bit of a killer on the frame rate. There's one particular rock that's a bit of a downer. Lots of snow fences up there. It's a nice snow-filled valley. And it's got those... Oops. Reset. Thank you. And it's got those things that people call dinosaur trees. I don't know if they call them that here, but in Australia they've just become all the rage because they got shown on some home construction show. So everybody now wants dinosaur trees in their yard. There's a collectible there. The red flag. I guess we're going uphill. I might want to actually give it a little bit of power. So who else has got the route and is playing with it? I know Gareth hasn't got it because he said earlier in the stream that he's not the biggest fan of slower freight routes. I'll actually run through the services in this one, Gareth, because you might actually find this one interesting. For the ones that you drive for hours, then yeah, it's a bit... I understand. I have to be in the right mood.
Speeds aren't slow on this route.
No. Yeah, the speeds are fairly good. Gareth is giving it a pass. But let me show you the services in when we finish this scenario, because there are services ranging from quite short, 20 to 30 minutes, ranging up to, I think, about an hour 30 or so is the longest one. So you can take your pick. We still don't have any of the grand adventures of the 12-hour runs from Run 8. But I don't think that they'll ever come into this game because it's just not got the capabilities. Alright, so we've got our solid yellow now. Means our next signal is red, and our cab signalling system is showing us something, red and yellow. I assume that's meant to show the when it's flashing red over yellow. Yes, it is just kind of wrong, you're right. Yeah, that's why I didn't turn on the safety system. We are going downhill again. What I've kind of noticed with the safety system, I have tried it. I think the cab signaling system is just displaying the wrong thing because the game is actually quite aware of what it should be doing. Just bringing my speed back down because I'm expecting a red signal at some time in the not too distant future, since we're 1.7 miles from it. But I don't want to bring it down too much because 1.7 miles will take forever if I go too slow. So, who's noticed that this route also has dynamic weather? Not just in scenarios. If you take if you take the 1043, I think, with the SD70 from Hermosa, which is the one I used for my Snow Hill Start video. I think I've released that. Better look. If you have a look at that one, it starts off raining and then it starts snowing, and then later on it stops snowing and then it starts snowing again, and then you get a whiteout. So it's definitely got dynamic weather in the services, which is not something that was announced. So maybe it's an experiment to see if we noticed. There's another collectible at the left there. They, if you're looking out for the collectibles and you want the little red flags,
Or left as a surprise.
yeah, that's possible. Could be left as a surprise. If you're actually looking for the collectibles and the little red flags around the place, I think it's the flags, jackalope signs, which I haven't even seen one of them yet. Snow shovels and snow fences you got to fix from memory, something like that. But I haven't bothered with any of them yet. The red flags, they stand out like a bulldog walking away from you that has not been neutered if you play in the snow. Here's a hint.
Actually, it's red flags, jackalope, snow fences, and no trespassing or danger signs.
Ah, yes. Why did I think it was snow shovels? Where did I get that from? See? Approaching a red signal. What does the alerter do? Hey! Look at me!
Well, you were half right.
Is there a donkey, says Gareth? That I don't know. But I have to say I'm not that good at finding the donkeys anyway. I think I found the one on Dresden, but I'm told there's maybe more than one on Dresden. I haven't found the other one. I think, what's the other route with the big bridge right outside the station? It's got a lot of freight on it. It's one of the other German routes. I found that one. That's got, I think, 4.
I found one of them.
Yeah, I think there's 4 on that route. There's 2 in outside the play area, which is interesting. Oh, look at that, I'm already blocking the crossing. Oi, alerter. Why did I have to press that twice? But since we have to stop here, before I go and tell the signalman, I am actually gonna go get that flag. Why not? Just because I can, and hope it doesn't break the scenario. Whee! Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that brilliant fossil! That looks so amazing! Under the snow. Okay. There's possibly something over here too, because there's a whole lot of junk over here. Now, this is something I like about this route. There's junk everywhere. It's good. I like having junk everywhere. Let's get back in our train. We are already holding up the, let's count them, 0 cars. Now, oh look, the gates have gone up. That's cute. Notice I've stopped. I didn't know they did that. That's cool. That behaves like real ones with a predictor. But what's interesting is this is a farm gate, farm trail, double lane asphalt road, farm trail, farm gate. I would have thought that would just be a pair of crossbucks personally, if there was anything there at all. That's okay. I haven't been and had a look on any sources to see if there should be something else there. Oops, how did I end up there? Back up there, back in the seat. And before I forget, I should have tried the radio for that. No, there's only the banking com button. Alright. Our signal is now flashing red, so we're allowed. Now, will these gates go down again? No.
You broke it. You didn't stop where you were supposed to.
Yep, which is right on the crossing. speed under control. I do notice in one of the... Actually, quite a lot of the services that start in Hermosa, where you're sitting there pumping up your brakes from zero, that's not actually realistic because unless the driver, before you dump the emergency... I have broken it, you're right. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, this is not going to go well, is it? Back we go. And of course it's 666 yards. Now I hope that's... If that's on the other side of that signal, I'm screwed, and that'll be the end of this scenario. If you're talking about the grade crossing, Gareth, if a grade crossing doesn't work, American rules are the same as the Australian ones. You basically take your loco right up onto the apron of the crossing where there's a secondary circuit that should kick the lights off, and after they've been running for 10 seconds you can go through. If that does not work, then you either flag the crossing, or if there's no one there like that one, you just drive through it. It is going to be on the other side of that signal, isn't it?
Yeah, usually your conductor would flag you through.
Yep, and I'm not going to be able to go through this because guess what? It's red. Well, that's the end of this scenario. Oh well. The whole point was to go and get a train that's broken down. Let's just try and go up to the train. Let's see if it's smart enough to recover. Maybe it is. I bet you it's not, but let's try. Maybe it'll recover when I couple to the other train. Oh, thinking for the cars to call in that the crossing's not working. Yeah. I know Australian control boxes all have a fault reporting phone number on them. I don't know if anyone really cares though. So I can't get to the point where I was supposed to stop and didn't stop at because I can't go through the red signal. So I will attempt to go and couple up with the train and see if the scenario catches up. So if we look at our task list. You know, we might survive this, maybe. No, because look at all that stuff. We've missed out 3 things. Oh well. Sigh. We'll see. Maybe we can go through the motions of taking the train back down the hill. Might get away with it. At least get it to that red signal. I've seen a crossing like that in the UK, Gareth, where they the gates are manual and they're down normally, and there's a button. You press the button, and when you press the button, if the light goes green, you can lift up the gates and drive through. But I think on most roads in the US, you've probably seen all the crash videos of trains hitting cars and trucks. There's something like 1,500 level crossing accidents a day in America. Which either means that the crossings are very poorly designed, or there's a lot of dumb people. And if you watch the videos where there's lots of trucks and buses that go through the crossing only to be stopped by a red light on the outside. Yeah, I think it possibly is just stupid a lot of the time. Because a lot of the ones I've seen, you'll see a truck or a bus and it goes through the rail crossing, even though it has to stop at a red light on the other side, and it's still overhanging the crossing, and that seems to be a lot of the ones that get hit. Let's see if we get away with this. So we've found our friend train. Very nice rock slow motion. We're only doing 2.5 miles an hour. We should be fine for coupling up. No. Now, has the game realised it? No. That's okay. Because we can still... This red light came on. Ooh, I blew my PCS open. That's boring. It wasn't expecting that, was it? So... We'll just wait for our... Actually, if we go into the other loco, we might get away with this. We might not too. I want to put this into handle off. Just using the mouse because the rail driver can't actually get to handle off reliably.
Handle off.
And then cut it. Well, the PCS is opened again, so that's fine. Operator controls, and we want to go to trail. And we're going to go into the other one. Now I think this run's going to end up stopping at that signal down there, because the scenario is now busted. But you never know, we'll see. Chain. Now this loco doesn't have a thing to climb over, so you have to just jump. Put the chain back up. Yep. Oh, oops, somebody fell off. That'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it? I always feel like I'm going to bang my head on the door. Alright. Now, how are we set in here? We've got our brake-in handle off, which is good. Let's go into more options, operator controls, air brake lead, and cut in. Now, there was pressure in the other one, so this is a bit sad that it's like this. But it's probably because I broke the scenario, to be honest. Alright, let's release the main brake and put on the independent. Let's do some lights. So at least we can go through the motions of this. Alright, now, probably because I've broken it, it's not showing our rear pressure. But there is a trick. So if you go down to the back of the train, and you get that nice blank screen, because it's so far away, I want... Well, bugger me, it's an SD40. I didn't actually know there was an SD on the back of this train. There you go. Okay. If we come and look in the window at the brake gauge, you can see there's almost no pressure. It's slowly, slowly, slowly coming up. So even though the one at the front's not showing it, this one is. So we've got to wait for that to get to 75 before we can move anyway. So, back up the front. Let's, while that's happening, up to 65 in the front now. In a real train, you would actually put them on, but leave generator off, and notch up to number 1, and that speeds the engine up a bit, which makes the compressor run faster. So let's just pop out of this cab. Let's go this way while we're waiting. Because the detail of the grass is quite cool. I have found myself while waiting for pressures to build, finding nice places for screenshots. That's kind of cool. But the other thing you can do, which would be relatively realistic, is actually walk the train. So this would be a modified brake inspection, not a full brake inspection, so you wouldn't walk the whole thing. You'd be looking at all of your brake rigging on the first half dozen or so. I like what they've done on these too, because The brake rigging actually moves on these locos, which is nice. It seems to be the case for all the newer ones. Except the one Skyhook make. They'll get it one day. Yeah, I wonder if we can get in the hobo hole. No, we can only stand on the ladder. So if I get back off the ladder, how do I get off? Ah, fall off. Okay. Can you see the hobo hole on these ones? I think you can. These only got a little hobo hole. If you look up a guy named Hobo Shoestring on YouTube, it's relatively fascinating. Maybe they've got one at this end. No, these carriages don't have it. They've probably been redesigned so they don't. But a lot of the hoppers have a big round hole here that's big enough for a human to get through. And they hide in there when they're out on the rails. We're probably pretty close to having pressure in the back now. Let's just jump back in the cab. Yeah, sneaky shortcut. So we've definitely got good pressure in the front. Let's have a quick squeeze down the back. Oh, we're nearly there. Actually, if we just watch that creep up, we'll actually see the brakes come off on the back loco. Pretty soon. How did I have an effect from down here? I'm not in the train. Not much point putting it forwards. I haven't got the generator on anyway. But let's get ready to go. But let's pop down the back again, and this time don't touch any buttons. Because we should see that release. We should see when the white needle reaches the red needle. The red one should go. Should. We'll see. How patient can we be? That's the question. This is excruciating. This is your life on a railway, watching needles move. Go into fly mode. Just scoot along our train while we're waiting for stuff to happen. So the route is modelled quite nicely. It's certainly not featureless. It's a nice big rock farm here. I wonder how big they have to get before they dig them up and sell them. This one's only a baby train. Oh, we should talk about water on this route. Because it's reflective. And if you get one in the right place, you can see the train in it. Which is kind of cool. Just some more of our junk. I have managed to get myself behind a wall. Oh, there we go. Got out of it. So you should remember that, because you can get in there. If you can get in, you can get out. A bit quick, wasn't it? Oh. So close. Yeah, I'm going to watch it now because I want to see the gauge fall. I want to see if it works. I've got a pink thing on my head. There's a downside of putting the camera there, I suppose. Upset the ACV people. Our road is not straight. There we go. Can't brakes go off. I wonder if they're controlled from the... just out of interest. No, they're definitely not controlled from that lead loco. I'm surprised that didn't release when it passed the red needle.
Did you turn banking comms on in the lead loco now?
That is a good question. Let's go have a look. No. Oh, we missed it. Should have stayed here. Alright, all good. Brakes are now off in the back. So that train will start stretching out. So let's get some throttles on. I can't remember whether they're facing uphill or downhill here. Not that it really matters. Alright, got some power up. Brakes are off. Now this might only go as far as the signal. If the signalling system's connected to the scenario system... Oh look, there's a jackalope sign. Tough. I said before I'd never seen one, now I have.
Quick, emergency! Gotta get it!
Yeah, nah. Do non-Australians use that phrase? There's a red flag over there too. Or a fossil. Here you might hear yeah, nah, which means you're a wanker. But in politeness it means I hear you, I understand, but I'm not going to do that. But it really just means you're a wanker. But you might get yeah, nah, yeah, which means I hear you, I understand you, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I accept that you have authority over me. Hey, if this signal's actually working, if it's not tied to the scenario and it's working with the train system, I can see it's red, so it's not. We'd be able to get to the place where we're supposed to stop, but we're not going to because it's tied to the system. Because in reality that should be green now. Alright, we'll just have to use the sneaky trick. Because I want to play the scenario through, even if I can't actually achieve it. So we're going to blow through this red signal at the moment.
Contact dispatcher.
I can try, but I think it won't work. No. It's because we've gone off route because we're not on doing the scenario anymore. Now I know I should sound the fourth part of the horn through the crossing, but I'm going to need to be quick on the save key, so I'm not going to do that. Because in just a moment when it says, hey, you've gone through a red, which it's just about to do probably, or it should. Or not. Okay. Let's go then. I've got it totally confused, I love it. If you don't know the trick, if you run through a red signal or something along those lines, it would be a game ender.
I wonder if you were going slow enough.
No, it doesn't matter what speed you go through red signals, they're always red. But I think I've just confused the game so much by not stopping at that point, it was all good. In fact, here, just for amusement, it's going to take a lot of brake to make this stop. Might do some sand as well so we don't slide. You know what, we can back it up and put it into the spot we're supposed to stop at. It's funny. That's funny. So I've done that, but the scenario's not going to figure that out, is it? Oh well. If I go into reverse. And if I move the train a little bit so it knows I'm going that way. And then try and contact the signal. No. We're just going to move backwards and just see if this works around my little issue. Might work. Oop, facing. Oh, yeah, just before I was telling you before, there's no trees. Look, trees. Try now. Nah, so it's not going to work. Alright.
There you go.
It's alright. We're not going to be able to recover the scenario. Because the scenario doesn't realise I've contacted the signaller. No. That's okay. See, it's just a good thing to do is when you're playing a scenario, is behave yourself and do what it says, or it invites you. Off it goes. Facundo says the speed of US trains makes him nervous. And these days he mostly plays German trains and rolling stock. Does the speed make you nervous because it's usually really slow or because it's really fast? They go pretty quick for things this long and this heavy. So 80 mile an hour for a train that weighs 8,000 tonnes is fairly impressive. I believe German freights are usually shorter, and thanks to PZB and AFB, and in places LZB, they're probably safer. This cab signalling is quite primitive compared to those. You feel the US trains are really slow. On most routes, they're probably not. So they do tool along at 80 mile an hour. Which is fairly quick. It's 140, 150 kilometres an hour, something like that. Whereas the German ones, I think you're limited to 80 kilometres an hour for a heavy freight. And PZBU, I think it is. Granted, on some routes like Clinchfield, you're lucky if you get over 25 mile an hour, which is 40 kilometres an hour near enough. It's actually basically 40s. And they are the real ones too. Now there's some more signals coming up here, so we'll see if the game lets us through them or not. About trains on curves. It's look nice. It's the photography in me, I think. I just like the lines. Which reminds me, I have to finish on time today because I'm doing a photo shoot straight after this. There is one artifact which is related to the draw distance. I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but at the back of that train, you'll notice that there are probably about half of it's missing. That's because when it reaches your draw distance, you can't see the rest of the train because it doesn't draw it. If you set your draw distance longer in your innie, you can see the whole train, but then your frame rate goes through the floor. But that's okay. I'm not sure when you joined Facundo, but I'm off route now because I broke the scenario through my own lack of paying attention to what it wanted me to do. And so Facundo says that German freight trains' max speed depends on the brake, weight of train, the length, weight, and the gradients and type of wagons. Indeed. The setup of PZB for which one to use, PZB U or O or G, I think the other mode is relatively complex. What does this sound say? Green! Woohoo! Everyone needs to hear a train in run 8 sooner or later. Frame rate's biking a little bit here. 23 FPS, it makes it a bit... Not sure what the right word is. It's stuttery or juddery or jittery. One of the above. All of the above? Let's just bring it down to idle. Now my train's actually not very far away if I remember rightly, so... Get idle long enough. Let's go into setup. Leave it there while the brakes warm up. Because I need to start slowing this train down. I'm going just a little bit quick. Notice my max speed is 70 mile an hour. And what am I doing? 76. We should be able to get some dynamics on now. Should see that start to build. We are, so I can give it some more. Give it all the dynamics. And then I'm going to go check the map. Because I definitely don't have very far to go, because I think my train's down here somewhere. I don't see it on the map. It's not in that bit, maybe it's further. Maybe I broke the scenario so much my train just disappeared. That would be possible. Oh no, there's my train. That's the one I left behind there, I think. And that's where my path ends. It's interesting how the frame rate persists even though I'm in the map screen. See? Who says the dynamic brakes now? They worked quite well. I don't know if I'm going... I am still going downhill, so we'll just leave that set there. Might come back to Dynamics 1 and let it build up speed again. Because I did put on a little bit much, but I had this faint suspicion I was quite close to where I'm supposed to go. I'll at least be able to get this train down to close to the point where we're supposed to do things. See, now they're slow for Kundo. 20 mile an hour. Just letting the gradient pick me back up again. I have noticed it does make weird noises when you come out of dynamics, this one. Oh, maybe not this time. The game really has no idea what we're doing anymore because that point to contact the signal is not changing. I've completely stuffed it. That's okay. We still get to play games. It's interesting difference that makes, doesn't it? Getting close. 43 frames a second. Come out here. 17. It stayed close. Looks better. Since the HUD is now pointless, you might as well turn it off completely. Oh, we're up to 9:39 anyway. Since we're up to 9:39 and the next one is a 60-minute one, I will probably end this one early anyway since I've broken it and pop over to the service which I'm going to do. So I might just jump in and do that now because like I said before, I do actually have to finish on time for this one. So I will see you in just a tick while I get ready. Alrighty then. So we've got our SD40s and there's three. There's the Cane Creek one, and there's two which are both Dovetail. Now these are actually the same SD40, they just have different horns. They do sound slightly different, and we're going to run the Laramie Yard to Laramie Cement. I really like the SD40 in this one. The sounds in the SD70 are reasonable, but they're not perfect. Okay, so our loco is running. We're not going to need banking com because we've got two locos and they're both connected together. And we just need to get moving. Oh, that's right. The headlights don't actually move the right thing in this loco. Right. So bright plus ditch lights. And we want step lights and gauge lights. And we want to release that brake, release the independent brake. We want to cut this one in and put this one in lead. Watch our brakes do strange things. Let's just check our track, which of course is not set for us. That's just to catch out the unwary, I suppose. Why is my path down there? It wants to put me on the front. Did I not pick the right service? Oh well, do what we're told. Yeah, I think I've picked a different one to what I thought I was going to play, but that's okay. We'll play this one. It's got SD40s. Let's pop outside. Because I'm a bonehead. Haven't put the reverser in yet. Right, let's do that again. Never do this in a yard, but you need to know what it sounds like. Oops, I didn't set the points properly. Oh, I don't know why that didn't derail me, it should have. I swore I set those points though, didn't I set them? That went well, didn't it? Should I just stop streaming now?
Yeah, you did set them right. I watched you.
I'm sure I set them. Thank you for the backup there, Michael. As they say, consult the video.
I'm sure you did too. I've had this issue as well.
Yes. Pass those things now. There's the independent brake because train. So that one's fine. What's it show on the map? So it's that way. Well. What about the other ones that I said? That one's right. Okay, let's do that again, shall we? This time. That's better. Yeah. I think pretty sure we have to set these points back again now. And that one I want to set for the main line. Won't bother honking first crossing because it's blocked anyway. No, that's alright. That one's okay. That one's okay. Oh, that's right. It's one of those weird ones where you're coming across another train and you're shunting between them. That got a bit quick. But we'll be okay. Ahead of myself because I kind of know what it wants. which vehicles does it want me to cut? And you notice it's changed the points again. Look at that. Let's just check what they really are on the ground. Yeah, they're both okay. Alright. Let's go and sit up here where we're going to shunt. Alright. Sorry for making you seasick then. Oops. Had I already changed the reverser? I must have. I am showing an extreme level of competence this morning. Doing great. Come on, this way. Come on, driver. 50 meters. Actually, this is the scenario, well, not scenario, service I wanted, because I've just realised what I'm doing. We run around the train, and now I'm going to push it down. That's right. That's why I wanted to show this one. Alright, couple up. And now we want to go to the Laramie cement siding. So if you're looking at it now, you're thinking, but how do I go forward? There's a train in the way. It's because you're not. You're gonna go the other way. Alright, let's go and check what our points are doing. It's interesting there's a path marked over there, that's interesting. These of course have been changed again to trap the unwary. Because we want to go down this path. Set all our points. That one's right. That one's not. I think that's all of them. I don't think there's any more on the way out that need to be done. No, looks good. And we just need to worry about the ones at the cement plant. Because now, we go this way. Now, we should change our headlights over. Not that it really makes much difference. Too dim, I believe the rear one has to be. Weird as it seems, we are actually going to push it this way. Why are you going that way? Stop that. Full service. Come on, come on.
You're not going the right way.
Oh no. I must have already changed the reverser and forgotten. You let me distract you with a nice auto rack train. And look at that, just like magic, it's going the right way now. just because I'm super paranoid over what happened before, that one's fine. That one's fine, because we're not going onto the main line.
Check the points again.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. That one's fine. That one's fine. That one's good. Okay. Sit here and we can rail fan 2 trains at the same time. And I'll just have to use the rail driver to keep an eye on the speed of mine, because I don't want it to get too fast going through all these points. Mine has started to draw now. It's close enough for that. Bit of parallel running going on. I checked with a friend of mine who works for UP, and he says that the propelling move, or a shove as he called it, is actually quite prototypical. So when I first saw this and saw that it was pushing it for 3 miles, I thought that was a little bit weird, but no, they really would have a shunter, or a conductor as he called it, standing on the steps of this rear carriage with a radio calling him through.
Just noticed your distance to the siding's not counting down.
Alright, Will, it's a while. Yeah, we're going the right way. Yeah, it's blue. Definitely going the right way. But while I'm in the map, let's just continue scrolling down. So let's make sure the points are set right down. That's the cement blanks. That one's fine. It's just a catch point. That one's good. That seems to be the line we're going into, which is fine. I think it will count down eventually. It's just a long way. You have to love the new horn. It's just good. Actually, the correct way. Give me the ventilation.
Oh, there you go. It just jumped down big time.
Yeah, it's probably because of the train. be our shunter if we want to. Maybe we can't be our shunter. 3 key does not take me down the back. There we go. 2 key does. I'm not going to be able to ride the step at the last one. Laramie's quite nice. This is where we are currently. Scoot up in here, you get a bit of a view. So Laramie's built quite well. Apart from the fact it's right next to a railway line, it's probably really noisy. It'd be a nice place to live. Now that was snow. So speed, 5. A little bug where this message stays on the screen sometimes. So you can just break the loop. The rail driver's done what the rail driver likes to do, which is watch the locomotive up when you're not watching. That's okay, with 11 mile an hour, we're still fine. We don't want to go too much faster though. We're pushing it into a siding here. And you also don't want to go too fast because there's a nasty little kink here where I'm assuming there was probably another train line at some point. Just reflected trees there. We should be able to see our train in. No, we can't go around far enough. No, we won't be able to see our train.
I love these ponds. They're really nice.
They are nice. It's kind of a crossing. Little dirt road thing. Birds singing in the distance. Nearly here. Got to watch the distance on this one, because the distance is the loco to the stopping point, not the back of the train. If you keep pushing till your loco's at that distance of 800 and something yards, you'll have a train in the dirt at the other end. It's an interesting plant to push into because it's slightly downhill coming off the main line. It's probably about a 4 metre or nearly a 4 yard drop in height, but then it starts going uphill again as you head towards the back of the sidings. You have to keep pushing even though you're going downhill, but not very hard. Almost there. Go back and have a look. Because I think we've cleared the points at that end anyway, which is where we need to be. No, that didn't quite get us in far enough. A little bit more. Take them right down to the end. This is what shunting's all about. Speed. Lots of it. And that's not someone sneezing, that's the cement plant making that sneezing noise. It's a strange footprint under the cars, isn't it? Weird. Maybe they've just been there for ages and it's dirty underneath them. One car length to go.
Cement dust.
Could be. Would indeed be cement dust, Michael. Let's see if that's enough. Yep. Back up front. And we need to uncouple 10. So I shouldn't just go racing up the front, because I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Never tried this in the middle of the train from the 8 key. I don't know if you can do it. Can. Ooh, they bounced apart pretty well. Just out of habit, I like to unlock both. I'm not sure if there's that many services. I notice it's not Dresden that has the chemical yard, but there's a German route with a chemical yard. Maybe it is Dresden, actually, which has quite complex shunting in the services. But this one does too, and it's quite good to see it in the game. Alright, where does it want me to go? Into that line. Alright then, let's push him back through the crossing here. That's a nice angle. Still pushing against the brakes at the moment, they haven't quite released. As long as the wheels go round, that's all that matters. press the right button when I'm trying to get an angle. I think the SD40s have actually become my new favourite locos in the game because they sound so good. The F7 in Clinchfield was my favourite before. With the second being the 185, because any train that can play music is a good train. That should do. Bang my head in a couple of them for no really apparent reason. So if you like a fairly accurate sounding diesel, I think the SD40 will be your friend. I'd love it if the Cane Creek one was brought up to this level, or if this one could sub in. Good, I can control things from this cab. Thought it would be good to check that before I ran into it. Actually, I'm not so sure I can control things from this cab. It's going to go bang. It looked like I could control things from this cab. Oh, it's controlling this one. Well, that's a bit boring. I thought that only changed your camera, not your driving position. Not much point trying to control a brake handle when your brakes are cut out. Oh well. You learn something every day. It's one way to snack a couple. Crush it. So while we're in this one, Google controls like the heater, and you can have a heater if you want to. Got sand. Got your bell. Turn on sand for the lead truck. Step lights, gauge lights. Another heater. What should we say? Sidewall heater. That must be that one. I guess if you're running in the snow, having a blast of warm air coming up would be good. I doubt they'd actually use the full-on sequence on that crossing, but, you know, good here, it's fun.
Oh, Matt's going to be playing on Sunday.
Is it? They announced a new stream.
Yeah, it's in the announcements of the forums. He's going to be doing Sherman Hill.
Yeah, cool. Oh, it's Affinity stuff. That's cool. That'll be Monday for me. If he starts at 8 o'clock, then is it the usual time? That should be close enough, I think.
Doesn't have a time listed. Just expecting afternoon.
Okay. So it might be really early for me then. I'll just have to keep an eye on... Is he doing it on Twitch and YouTube?
Yep.
I'm usually up at about 6, so if he's running, good. If not,
you can always watch it later.
I think that's where the crossing is. Now, if I didn't set those points well, this could be quite spectacular. You know what? Why are we going back in there? Because I'm pretty sure
Points weren't
that's...
set right?
Well, I thought I did. We shall go to the video umpire later and have a look. After YouTube finishes processing it for 19 hours or something. Last week's stream didn't turn up until I think the next day. I think there's a lot of people making YouTube content at the moment. Well, you get an extra move. There you go. Now there's your problem. The points are stuck in the concrete. That's an interesting one, isn't it? I don't think you would ever have points in a crossing like that. I really don't. I shall report that.
Mm-hmm. You're set right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was set right before.
Wouldn't.
Let's just check what the map says before that starts moving. Map says okay. But I'm pretty sure the map said okay before. But, you know, I probably shouldn't stand right in the middle of the track. How's that? I just thought it was a good opportunity to make some recordings for my intro so it's not full of old German trains. Scoot back again because I know where it wants me to go. Just go back out here to observative road crossing because it'll be nice shot. Quick recording for a future intro. Why not? I think you can hear a cat meowing, judging by the level meter. Better check the map and see where we're going. Make sure we really are going there. Oops, zoom out and in. That one looks alright. That one's okay. That one's okay. And that one's okay. So it looks like we are actually going where we're supposed to go, which is good. Get this one back into position. That will be it for this week. Does anybody have any requests for next week? Because I don't have anything on the cards right at the moment. It can be any route you want. People who are on playback, if you'd like to make a request, chuck it in the comments in the video later on. I think I can see 6 live and 32 on playback. 155 for the entry into the yard. Yeah, I deserve that. Few little speedy points there. It's interesting that there's this spike in the speed limit very briefly at the start there. Yeah, there's a reason I don't play with the HUD. It's because speed limits, boring things. Anyway, that brings us to a close for this week. So if you've got any requests for next week, chuck a line in the chat now, or chuck a comment on the video later, or DM me on one of the various places that people find me. Probably the Dovetail Forum's the easiest one. Excuse me. And we can set something up for next week, because right now I don't actually have something scheduled, so I've got to figure something out and get it up there. If I don't hear from anybody, I'll make something up. I haven't done a German one for a while. Maybe I should try out my really rusty PZB skills for Kundo. Maybe a German freight and a German passenger. That could be interesting. Maybe Dresden. Haven't done Dresden since it came out. It's been a little while. All right then. So that brings us to a close.
155 on Rosten or Rosik Nord.
Yeah, that would work. The 155 is quite a nice locomotive, as long as no one asks for the 187. I gave that one back. I have heard they're fixing that though, so very much looking forward to that, because if they fix it, I'll get it again. And yeah, if anybody finds the donkey on this route, let me know, because I haven't seen it anywhere. And I have covered the whole route, and I've covered all the tracks, so, you know, it's all fun. Anyway, I will see people next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, which is 8:30 a.m. Sunday morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Time, which is Saturday for most of you because you live in the past. If anybody would like the lotto numbers, let me know. All right, have fun, folks. Bye. I welcome any and all feedback. Feel free to comment on the video. Constructive criticism is welcome, especially if I've got something wrong. I stream every Sunday morning starting at 8:30 a.m. and I also do ad hoc streams from time to time during the week. Please subscribe and click notify to avoid missing out. Subscribing helps me by helping me see what content is good and how it helps the channel grow, or doesn't, as the case may be.